Hello and welcome to GameSack. Just a joke. Hello and welcome to the gaming... No. Hello and welcome to the Golden Syrup Gaming Show number 10.
We've hit double figures. Who would have thought?
Joining me tonight, as always, it's Gary Onions.
And joining me is Clark Cunt. You're going to bleep that bit out in the edit. Bleeps are funny.
Right. Cunt. The word cunt. Right. Okay. So my name's...
It's because I chose that because you were talking about how much you hated Superman and how Superman was stupid.
Oh, Clark Cunt.
Clark Cunt.
Right.
I thought you'd appreciate it.
Nice one, Gary.
Gary Onions.
Okay, straight into the news.
What's the news?
Big news is there's still no PS5s.
Well, that's not really new news, but aye.
It's the news. It's relevant news.
It's
I've been trying to get a PS5. I'm on the website Stock Finder or something. It's supposed to give me alerts. I've signed up for it.
Yeah.
That one time I managed to get on a queue on Game UK. But alas,
you weren't paying attention, were you?
I wasn't paying attention, but I seen a lot of people on Twitter who were also in the queue and were ultimately unsuccessful at getting a PS5. You could get one from, I think it's called Stock X or something, from the scalpers for twice the price.
Right. I've seen some going on like Facebook Marketplace, and the markup's been like £600, and they seem to have been legit, but still, like, I just don't think it's worth it. Like, I honestly don't see why people are kind of happy to pay that much money.
You sent me a fake listing and tried to get me to fall for a scam.
I mean, it's
clearly too good to be true.
I only had a cursor. Yeah, when it was at face value, so it was too good to be true, definitely.
Why would you send that to someone who's supposed to be your friend?
Just in case, you never know. Like, I never actually looked at it. I mean, other than, somebody's selling a PS5 in a nearby location.
So, like, if you get, like, one of those scam phone calls, do you say to them, I'm not interested myself, but I'll just give you Clark's phone number. He loves to be scammed.
I have had some scammers phone me a couple of times, right? And, like, so it was one that phoned me, and it was like, you are being investigated for tax fraud or something like that.
We all had that.
Really threatening. It was like, stay on the line to talk to our advisors. And I was like, right then. So I stayed on the line. And
well, you bared it out.
Yeah. I went and I got transferred to some, she sounded like, I don't know, like Filipino, like, sounded like she was in some call centre in Thailand or something like that. And,
what does that sound like?
Like,
just busy.
Yeah. Well, actually, probably not that busy. There's probably only like 5 of them or something. But anyway, in any case, like, I asked, I was like, well, what did I say again? I said, who am I? I asked her, like, so you phoned me.
She says, who am I? That's like a really deep sort of philosophical question, isn't
You've
it?
contacted me telling me that I'm getting investigated for tax.
Who am I?
Tell me what my name is. And she hung up
on me. You just mean your name?
Aye.
I thought you meant like, who am I?
Yeah, she couldn't give me my name, so I didn't really take her claim seriously. But, that's my story of... Cut that bit out.
No, that's good.
Thanks. Gold.
You got to be... Ken, you should be more confident with your anecdotes.
I was going to say as well, like, although the absence of the PS5 and Xbox as well is still news, there's also been endless rumours about a Switch Pro being announced, and this isn't a new thing either, but they've kind of escalated now where it just seems to be like everywhere, and it's all anyone's talking about. Are you at the point where you're taking this seriously yet?
Yeah, that's definitely happening because it was on Young Yeah, and he said, Forbes said, and don't know what Forbes is, but I think it's very important.
It's like a sort of like it's a financial magazine.
Is it Gary Forbes?
Barry Forbes.
Barry Forbes. Yeah, something like that.
his blog.
He's put in his 10 cents, and it seems like it's definitely happening this year. And how long is it since the original Switch came out?
4 years, like actually 4 years.
And in my opinion, a Switch is just like any mobile device, the iPhone, etc. So it's going to have, what's the word for it? Incremental updates.
Yeah.
Is that the right way to say it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's going to be the same but slightly different.
I've got concerns. Like I've got concerns about compatibility and stuff. There's like, is it going to have games that'll be exclusive to the newer model?
I would say not to start with, but after a while, same as phones.
They've done that with the 3DS, and it didn't really like. There was only about 2 games that actually came out for the new 3DS that were only playable on the new 3DS.
And those were
Oh, God knows, I never got the new
Xenoblade Chronicles or whatever it is.
Right, aye.
I got that and it looked atrocious.
Yeah.
It was a Wii game on the 3DS.
And what was the other one, do you know?
It escapes my mind right now.
But I think it's more likely to be like it'll upscale everything. Like,
yeah, that's what games are like now. They're scalable.
yeah. But like there's talk about it using that DLSS, which seems to be some kind of AI that upscales lower resolution. Like basically allows games to or on PC anyway, it allows system resources to be kind of saved, like so you can run it at a lower resolution internally, but the algorithm or whatever the software sort of upscales it to like 4K from.
Have you seen that in action?
I have.
And does it look just as good?
It looked better. That was the thing. Like I did
looked better than real 4K or whatever.
In some instances, yeah. I mean, I think it was Death Stranding that they were using as a kind of
was
benchmark.
This on Digital Foundry?
I think so, or maybe it was more Nvidia's promotional material. Like promoting DLSS
on a video,
and it was showing you like side by side, and like if anything they looked barely different. But from what I remember, some bits, because I think it was how it was managing resources, because it was able to run it at a lower resolution, it was able to use resources for other kind of effects.
Makes sense.
Do you know what I mean? It sounded really cool.
Sounds like a game changer.
Yeah, so if essentially if that's all the Switch
Pro
is doing,
that in use on something at the moment?
Not a console, no.
Just on PC?
Yeah, and it's like it's an Nvidia exclusive thing, isn't it? It's like their proprietary.
You tell me.
It's my understanding, and because the Switch has got, or Nintendo have got a relationship with Nvidia, it's been strongly rumoured that it's going to incorporate this technology. So it'll be able to operate at higher resolutions without having to maybe boost the actual physical components by, do you know what I mean? Like
by that much.
By that
or
much.
Could boost them as well and then use that power elsewhere, as you said a minute ago. It's interesting. But, well, I don't know. Do I want another Switch?
I mean, to me, I'd probably rather have a Switch Pro than a PS5 or a Xbox Series X at the moment.
But there's definitely going to be like a system-defining game's going to come out on the PS5.
Yeah.
Never happens straight away. Well, usually there's something.
Yeah. But
when you got the PS4 at launch, I didn't get it. There wasn't that much, but there was a few things.
I got it a year.
Infamous or something.
A year later. It was when Infamous came out. That was
a year after it
was
came
about
out.
a year after.
So it must have had not very much at launch.
It wasn't very much. I had at launch on the PS4 Killzone, Shadowfall, Infamous, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So it wasn't far after launch, but yeah, there definitely wasn't a strong lineup of games. And then actually when I look at my games collection, my physical games collection for for PS4. There's only really a handful that I would say are like top tier. I'm well glad I bought those, kind of. I'd keep them forever, kind of thing. Saying that, I've got a lot of digital stuff as well. Anyway, I digress. But what I was going to say was, the Switch has already got that lineup of games, and there's arguably more to come with the Breath of the Wild sequel and Metroid Prime and a whole host of first-party games where having an upgraded model could be a massive benefit.
They were talking about the price of it being like £400 or
$400, which would be about $350 over here.
Seems like, well.
Which was like arguably, well, I mean, we paid close to £300 for the standard Switch model at launch, and by the time we got Zelda on top of it, it was $350. So,
well, I'll definitely be trying to get a PS5 before I get another Switch, but who knows if I'll be able to.
Yeah, and nothing's obviously been officially announced at this point, so
it seems like it'll be holiday season, as the Americans say.
Yeah, and
or as we say here, Christmas.
And it seems likely as well that if such a thing's going to be announced, it's going to have to be announced soon to, get people interested for the holiday
Nintendo,
season.
they like to just announce things and then drop them quite quickly. It's like the Game & Watch thing, etc.
You say that.
Christmas.
Sometimes they like to do that.
They love to do that. They don't endlessly tease something and then disappoint like Cyberpunk.
Oh, so you accept now that Cyberpunk was a disappointment?
Well, it's definitely a disappointment, but until I get my PS5, once I get my PS5, then I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But that's a discussion for other people to have.
Cyberpunk is still not being put back on the PlayStation Store for digital.
Yeah, but
download.
People cite that as like a big thing. But
It's pretty big.
Here's the reason. PS Store doesn't do refunds. so Cyberpunk are like, right, we're going to offer refunds for people who aren't happy. PS Store are like, well, we don't do refunds. And they're like, well, take it off the fucking store then.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's that. It's no big deal. Calm down. Anyway, I'm trying to get a video for this next bit so I could remember what it was the guys actually said. But maybe you could remember, because the next bit of news is Joseph Fares.
Yeah.
He's the guy that makes co-op games.
Yeah.
Or games involving dualism. I don't know, I'm just making up. But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
eccentric.
He was originally most well known for coming on the Game Awards. And he said something funny, didn't he?
Oh, was it not like something about EA and their microtransactions can fuck off or something like that?
No, I've found it. I'm not going to watch it, but I just see it here. It's Joseph Fares says, fuck the Oscars.
Fuck the Oscars.
So, I mean, he turned up at the Game Awards. He seemed to be on cocaine. I mean, no one else said that, but I thought it was quite clear. He was drunk or high. Or maybe he's just...
I think he's generally quite an outspoken and passionate dude.
Sociopath.
I mean, I quite like him.
No, I'm just joking. He seems fine, but he always makes games where there's two things.
Yeah, we played, was it called A Way Out?
Can't mind.
The one where you escape from prison.
But yeah, I just got bored of it. It just seemed, I thought it was going to be like really amazing, like the sort of perfect co-op game.
Yeah.
But then I just got bored.
Maybe
it was your fault.
No,
maybe you're just a bad co-op partner.
I didn't really think the gameplay was that engaging, to be fair.
So it just seemed tedious, I think. Boring, I don't know.
It was a short game, but I don't know if we didn't finish it.
No. I feel bad for not finishing it. I feel like maybe we didn't put enough concentration into it or something, I don't know.
Perhaps.
Seemed like a great idea.
Yeah.
His first game, or the game before that, or one of his previous games, Is it not like 2 players, but you play it yourself?
That's something like called Brothers or something like that. Brothers. A Tale of Two Brothers. And it's you control both characters, one using each stick.
Have you played that?
No.
Because that was highly rated, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Looked quite good, and I'd always been interested in playing that, but then after playing that tedious Borefest A Way Out, it just put me off all his games. And then I saw the trailer for his new game called...
Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
Can't remember either.
It does look good though.
And it does look good, but the Prison Escape game has left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm not really interested, because Brothers is on the Switch for quite cheap, I think. Should maybe try it.
I'd seen a review of the new one. I wish I could remember what
There's
it was
been a
called.
lot of chat about that recently. That's why it's in the news. That's why we're talking about him now.
Yeah, there was one review that wasn't as kind to it, and it was mainly sort of focused on the story and the characters not being likeable, and not being like particularly good people, and the story not being very good. But I guess that's a subjective thing.
Who was saying this?
It might have been Easy Allies actually.
Game trailers.
Yeah, can't remember exactly.
The voice, the guy with the voice.
Yeah, the guy who's been the voice of YouTube gaming videos since 2006 on GameTrailers.com.
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two, yeah.
Not just the name of a song by Rod Stewart. Maybe. Loads of folk have covered that.
Yeah, I can't remember who done it
It
either.
takes two.
It's got to be a duet. It's got to be
Just
a duet.
me and you. Yeah, but I think my mum had it on a Rod Stewart tape.
Rod Stewart and Olivia Newton-John.
Was it?
No, I don't know. I just guessed. I
It's
made
a
that
joke.
up.
It's a joke. It's just a joke. The next bit of news was... It's not really news, but it's just something that I've been thinking about, which was, like, a few years ago, I've maybe gone about saying that the wrong way. Like, we're always watching Switch videos about the newest games that's coming out this week on the Switch, the best sales on the Switch, etc. Which I didn't used to do before, and now it seems like, because we're subscribed to a few Switch channels, it seems like we're constantly watching those videos where it's like, here's the new physical games coming out this week, here's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a constant thing, which is a change for me, and I'm just thinking, I wonder how long that's going to last, because obviously it's got a shelf life.
Yeah.
And it does get tiresome, especially at this stage. I mean, I feel like it is a bit of a lull. There's nothing particularly exciting coming out, especially in the way of first-party stuff from Nintendo.
Mario Golf and Skyward Sword are the kind of next.
Famicom Detective Club, of course.
Yeah. But
But it's just like an endless stream of indie games and roguelites.
and scrolling through the eShop is just, it's too much. Like,
Yeah, it's just a nightmare.
but yeah, there's definitely a bit of a drought of. Well, saying that, the same analysts that are talking about the Switch Pro being announced are talking about how there's meant to be a software lineup that's going to fucking drive profits. Like, there's seemingly going to be a lot of stuff happening that we just don't know about yet.
So presumably in the holiday period.
Yeah.
Because games don't really come out during the summer.
So yeah, not really.
It's usually a kind of dry spell.
Yeah.
I mean, now's been a dry spell. Maybe, yeah, I mean, anything that's going to come out just before the summer would have been announced, like Mario Golf.
Yeah.
When's that coming out?
Everything was kind of like...
Is it just before the summer?
I think that's June or July. Skyward, like one of them's in June and one of them's July, I think. I can't remember which is which. I think Skyward Sword's July and Mario Golf's June.
I guess my point is,
Oh, the other way
how
around.
many times can you listen to that guy say, if you like Nintendo Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family.
Oh, you're specifically referring to Switch Corner. I think.
Just if I hear him say that one more time, I just feel nauseous.
I think that's the kind of ongoing problem with YouTubers and the format that they have to adhere to.
They don't have to though. I watch YouTubers and they just get right in it.
Yeah.
I don't have to say that. Every
I
time.
say have to. It's definitely self-imposed. It does get annoying, especially when you're watching.
Even thinking about him saying that, I just like please stop saying that.
It's like you have to, like I'm almost poised with the remote ready to press.
It's
stop.
like your man on Nintendo Life. Hello there, lovely people. I couldn't if I'd heard him say that one more time, I would have gone on a killing spree.
I mean,
don't do that lightly. But instead of doing that, I unsubscribed from Nintendo Life. And then it seemed like that guy stopped making videos.
No, he's still making videos.
He's back.
Yeah,
Because
he's never stopped.
It was the American one.
They've got him and they've got the other guy from
John Nomcoms.
That's right.
With the deep voice.
Yeah. Former Game Explain, is that right?
Former Game Explain.
Yeah.
Alumni. Is that how you say that word?
Alumni.
So I'll just
Illuminati.
say Illuminati. Okay, on to our last bit of news, which is it's the 10-year anniversary of the 3DS.
Whoop. lots of memories.
Thought we'd talk about some of our memories of the 3DS.
Yeah.
And our launch night mayhem.
I do remember launch night well.
So where did you get yours?
I got it from Game in a shopping centre in my local town at the time. Midnight launch.
So they opened the shopping centre.
They did. They opened the shopping centre and
was people not running about mad?
No, there was only about 5 people there. It wasn't like it was queued around the block or anything like that.
So what were the other 4 people like?
I can't remember. I just remember me and a friend who I don't see anymore. We went and I picked up my 3DS, which I'd pre-ordered. It was 250 quid. Remember at launch, it was 250 quid for the 3DS. And I got Pilot Wings and Super Street Fighter 4 or whatever it was. Street Fighter 4 3DS edition.
Which you could play in first person, sort of third person beside the hip view.
I'm sure you could play it in first person. I can't remember.
It wasn't quite first person, but it was a strange sort of view, wasn't it? A unique
Oh,
view
right, yeah,
that
I do
was
remember
take
that.
advantage of
That's
the
right.
3D-ness.
Yeah.
But probably made it impossible to enjoy.
Yeah, and I remember. So we got it and went back to his bit and played quite a lot of it. And remember the AR cards that you got? I think they were the first things I had to look at. The AR cards, like it was all pretty impressive, Like everything was like, because up until that point, I hadn't really seen the 3D effect properly. Do you know what I mean? Like it's because you couldn't see it until you actually had the console in your hand.
I actually went to a what's the word for it? A pre-event.
A preview, kind of.
Preview, aye.
Yeah.
You could call it that. A preview event in Glasgow. Me and my girlfriend went through, and it was, I think, the only time I've ever done something like that. It was like going to E3 or something.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting. And so we got to experience the 3D effect in real life for the first time there. They had rows of 3DSs set up, chained to like displays, and you could go around and have a quick shot. And Because when I've been reading about it, it was like VR. I couldn't imagine how it could even work, or I just had to see it for myself. And first time seeing it was just mind blowing.
I think I remember Game did have a display unit in, but I can't remember. Like I can't remember what software they had on it, but you know, like it wasn't the same as when you actually got it home in your hand for the first time, and spent a bit of time with it. And I remember, like when I stopped playing at the end of the night, like my vision was fucked. You know, like the first time kind of looking at that screen for like prolonged periods of time, like when you switched it off, the world looked extra 3D, like, if you know what I mean. Like, it was kind of hard to describe it.
And it was also weird looking through the camera because it was such low resolution. But it was also in 3D, but with 3D turned on to like 100%.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't adjust the 3D on the camera.
Could you not?
Oh, I seem to remember it was all or nothing.
Yeah.
Which when you were using the AR cards, you had to use the camera.
Yeah.
And that was cool at the time, but it was something that you used only once.
Aye.
I think I ended up getting multiple 3DSs, and I've got multiple packs of those cards because they kept putting the cards with it right to the very end.
Yeah.
And then nobody is going to use them.
I'm sure I remember printing out a big version of the game card, like, because you could obviously.
I do remember people doing that.
Should have done it at least like on a full size sheet, and like I played with that once. And that was the end of that.
Because the Vita had AR stuff as well, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably better.
Not 3D, obviously.
Not 3D.
The 3D made it work like that. Like, it did look cool.
When the 3DS first came out, it didn't have the head tracking 3D.
No.
Which was added later on, which made a huge difference just to making it easier. Because you had to sit with your head totally still to get the 3D effect on the original 3DS.
Yeah, there was quite a narrow window of movement that you could.
But the head tracking works perfectly. I've got a new 3DS, and it's got the head tracking, and it makes the 3D work brilliantly. Pilot Wings, I got that at launch as well, and I enjoyed that a lot. I mean, it's the Pilot Wings I've played the most.
Same actually.
It's kind of a launch game, isn't it? Was it a launch game on N64 and SNES?
It was, and to be fair, like the 3DS version didn't really feel like a proper Pilot Wings game. It felt more of a mode that should have been in Wii Sports Resort.
That was set on Woohoo Island. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, and I suppose we have to talk about like the fact that the 3DS had a pretty rocky launch for what ultimately turned out to be a very successful console.
Yeah,
because we paid £250 for it at launch. And then less than 6 months later, or maybe about that, 6 months later, they dropped the price to like $150, and then
was it $150? It was not like $180. Surely
there was like a massive price drop, like massive. It was like £100 off, I'm sure. And as a result, we became ambassadors, didn't we?
Yeah, one of the proudest moments in my life.
Yeah, we got like 20 games. Because we were early adopters, and it was 10 Game Boy Advance games and 10 Super Nintendo games. I honestly can't remember.
I just remember the Game Boy Advance games never became available to buy on the shop.
Yeah,
which seemed bizarre.
Standard Nintendo kind of practice, like. But yeah, and there wasn't like a strong software lineup until at least a year in, really. Once Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 came out, I think that's when it kind of picked up, isn't it?
Well, I loved Mario 3D Land, as I was saying the other night.
Yeah.
Mario Kart, though, I didn't get, which seems bizarre.
That is bizarre.
But I think Was I playing it on the Wii or something?
Possibly, yeah.
I feel like I was playing it elsewhere, or I just had my fill of Mario Kart. But I don't know. It's really strange. I've still to this day never played it. I don't think.
That's bizarre.
It's the only Mario Kart I haven't played, and it is meant to be really good. Did you have it?
Aye, yeah. Of course, every 3DS owner had it.
Everyone had it. I was probably too busy playing a visual novel or something.
Yeah, a Japanese RPG of some kind.
I mean, it was a long time before I got my 3DS hacked. Like my DS, because I got the 3DS at launch, whereas the DS I didn't get till much later in its life. And at that point, I think it'd already been hacked.
I thought that it was just like, I didn't think you had to hack it. I thought it just, you could buy these cartridges that
yeah,
had,
you're right, a flash card.
Yeah.
Flash card.
Yeah. But yeah, that card would work on any DS, wouldn't it?
So I was amazing with the DS, just played every game that came out, no matter what it was. Give it a wee shot. And it was also quite exciting watching the piracy getting defeated. Like if a big game came out, then it would have some sort of piracy defense in it, and I mean it wasn't good at the time because you'd be joking to play the game, but yeah, it was an exciting time. I don't know, there seem to be so many games coming out for the Nintendo DS, even though it was totally widely pirated.
Yeah.
The developers were still making so many games for it. I guess it was it was just really low development cost to make a DS game compared to what it was to make any of the other console games that were about at that time.
Yeah.
Because basically like a SNES game. No, a Game Boy Advance is a SNES, isn't it?
Yeah, DS could do 3D.
It's like
to
a
some extent.
N64 almost.
Almost, sort of like a PlayStation, but not quite. I don't think the cartridges could hold like that much.
Yeah, that was a big limiting factor, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, some impressive 3D games on the DS, and like even the 3DS had some pretty outstanding looking titles for like being quite low powered hardware. Like Kid Icarus Uprising. Did you ever play that?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
But I didn't really get to grips with the on-foot sections.
No, and what was I going to say? Resident Evil Revelations was first a 3DS exclusive, and I remember you couldn't get it anywhere. Like it just was so hard to get in the UK. I managed to get a second-hand copy from Game, and it had like a spelling mistake on the box. Like Revelations was spelled wrong on the side spine, and you were saying that I should have kept it because it probably would have been worth money. But
worth a laugh, if nothing else.
Yeah,
could have just looked at it and laughed every now and again.
But yeah, I get like a really, really impressive looking game for.
I didn't play that till much later when I got my new Nintendo 3DS with the second stick nub, the analog nub. Well,
I actually bought the add-on monstrosity
Frankenstick.
The Frankenstick that it was absolutely ludicrous.
But did it play alright with it?
Played alright, but
I loved that game so much. I really loved that game. The second Revelations, I learned to love it. I didn't love it to start with, but then when I played it on Switch, I got into it. But the first one I thought was amazing.
I really liked it, right up until the last boss.
I didn't get past that last boss either. We spoke about this before.
Ruined it for me, like.
I'd kind of forgotten about that.
And I tried so many. In fact, that was why I bought the monstrosity, because I've been trying to do it with just tank controls, and that boss had a move that was pretty much impossible to dodge, and I thought maybe if I had the other stick then I could sidestep it or something, but yeah, it didn't help. Great game though. other than that last boss. I remember as well they released Mercenaries, Resident Evil Mercenaries.
Yeah, around the same time.
It was around launch, and it made you think, oh, I wonder if they're going to do like full-blown Resident Evil 5 port or something.
Well, 4.
Or 4. It's amazing that actually 4 never got ported to the 3DS.
You would have thought 4 would have been a no-brainer.
Oh, that is weird. Did it get ported to the Vita? I don't think it did.
Don't know.
I don't think it did. I think it was
definitely had a lot of ports. But I don't know if I don't think it was in Vita.
Yeah. But weird though that it never got a handheld port, but it got a shitty iOS port. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally, yeah. But I mean, there's a much bigger audience on iOS, isn't there?
I suppose.
I never grew to love my 3DS as much as I loved my DS. My DS is one of my favourite consoles of all time.
Yeah.
The 3DS, just not. I mean, I did have some fun with it, but it never really seemed perfect in the way that the DS just seemed like a perfect console.
Yeah. And like everyone had a DS, whereas like obviously like the 3DS did by the end have like it sold millions, but I didn't like your mum would have a DS for Dr. Cappuccino.
Watch what you're saying about my mum.
But do you know what I mean? Like my mum had a DS. Like
my
girlfriend had a DS.
Mum's got a DS and my girlfriend's got a DS. My mum's not got a DS. Come on.
My mum had a DS.
My mum doesn't even know who the Beatles are.
And my mum got a Wii. I suppose that's the difference, is that like it just didn't have that same kind of mass casual appeal that the DS did.
It's because its unique selling point was the 3D, and everyone hated it, and they had to put a disclaimer saying that kids couldn't use it. I mean, it's just a disaster.
I mean, I wouldn't say everyone
From a
hated
PR
it.
point of view, that's a disaster. They managed to pull it round.
Yeah,
but
by not focusing on the fact that it done 3D.
Most folk didn't use the 3D.
You got a fucking decent lighter.
Don't smoke.
Of course. But yeah, I'm glad that it had the 3D feature. I do think that it's a cool feature. I just wonder what else they could have done other than the 3D feature to differentiate it from the DS. You know?
Lighter, a built-in lighter.
That would have been handy.
I think more folk would have used that than the 3D effect.
I did love the 3D effect in sort of small doses, and only for certain games as well. Like some games really did.
What do you think was the best 3D game?
Well, it's probably Mario 3D Land.
I knew you were going to say that. That's so predictable and boring.
It's true though.
Apart from that,
try to think. God, I can't remember.
Me either. It's like when you're put on the spot, then you can't think of things. Like, I guess that's why people do like research and write notes and stuff.
Yeah,
we didn't do that.
No, that'd require effort.
This is just like freestyling.
Yeah,
it's more authentic.
Yeah, we don't even know what we're going to talk about.
I don't even know what we were talking about.
No.
I don't even know what we just talked about. Which is a perfect segue on to the next section, which is, what have you been playing?
Little Nightmares 2.
The sequel to Little Nightmares 1.
Well, actually, it's a prequel.
A prequel?
It's a prequel. Not that it matters, really, but...
I got it before you.
Yeah, and you were gloating as well about how you were getting it before me, because we had snow that had prevented my physical copy from getting here. And you had yours, and you've still not played it.
I got it digitally.
And I've finished it.
That's the digital advantage.
Well, you say that, but...
I did say that.
It's not strictly true. Anyway,
if I could have been arsed, I could have finished it before you even got it. I mean, how many days later did you get it after launch?
It came, I think, 4 days later.
How did that make you feel, Gary?
Quite annoyed.
Onions. Quite
But
annoyed.
you know what? It was worth the wait, and also it was fine because I got Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury the day after Little Nightmares was initially supposed to arrive.
Wait, what are we talking about here?
I was playing that as well.
I thought we were talking about Little Nightmares too.
Little Nightmares 2. Aye. Anyway, yeah. So I fucking loved it. It was great. I think I preferred the first one. I think I preferred the setting of the first one and the overall.
What is the setting of? So the setting of the first one is a boat.
A kind of weird boat with children getting eaten and turned into sausages or something.
Yes, that's what we like.
And there's none of that in this one.
So that's why you liked it less.
I liked it less. It's like
because we like. I mean, if people don't know us, they maybe not know this about us, but we do like to see children minced up and made into sausages.
I mean, if there's content that has that in it, like a game, then we're totally on board for it.
But the prequel doesn't have so much of that.
No, it's not got any of that kind of horrific kind of meat-based horror.
We're not wanting to have any spoilers here, but that is one spoiler.
Yeah.
No child sausages.
No child sausage. So I guess I've said that it's a prequel, which I suppose is already a spoiler.
That's a spoiler.
It doesn't
as
really
well.
matter because it's not like it's really narrative driven, but it's not a spoiler as well that the character from the first game is in it. And the reason that you know it's a prequel is because that she gets her iconic yellow raincoat in Little Nightmares 2. So that suggests that the events of that game have to precede Little Nightmares 1. One thing that disappointed me was I thought it would have been nice if it led into the first game in some meaningful way, but it doesn't. So I suppose if you count that as a spoiler, then sorry.
So gameplay wise, is it similar to the first game?
Yeah, it's pretty much identical, really. There is some like bits where you've got a weapon of some kind. There is like sort of a couple of light combat sections, and there is some really unsettling like chase moments, and like all the kind of compliments that we gave the first game like definitely apply to the second one in terms of like the art style and the kind of world that's been created and stuff, and it is genuinely like stunning. Like,
And the sound design.
and the sound design's just so it's all top notch stuff.
It's as good as the first one. For all that stuff is really what is important.
Yeah.
Because the story of the first game, I had no idea what happened.
Well, there's not really.
You had to explain it to me, and I still don't know what happened. But to me, it was more about the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, it's like nothing's really overtly explained in either game. You've kind of just got to try and piece together some kind of story in your head, I suppose, or like try and establish where you are in some way. The second one has more of an urban setting, and it seems to be more to do with mind control and something to do with TVs and a big tower in the middle of the city that's broadcasting something and controlling people. So nothing to do with children getting turned into sausages that I could see.
But highly recommended.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely. If you loved the first one, you're definitely going to like this one.
Gary just told me he'd prefer to be known as his full name, which is Gary Onion Flint. Is that right?
Yeah, if you could.
Gary Onions Flint.
If you could use my triple-barreled full name, I'd be greatly appreciative.
So, I have got a confession to make.
What's that?
I have accidentally been playing a right-wing game.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been dragged into this political hot potato.
Right.
but let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
I've been playing a shmup called Habroxia.
Okay.
And I love shmups, but I'm not amazing at shmups
Right.
because they're like really hard.
Yeah, I'm rubbish at them as well.
But I do enjoy them.
I just pour coffee on my crotch.
But sorry, I've been really distracted by your crotch.
I'm just dabbing
the crotch.
dabbing my crotch. Right, that'll do.
Dab-
Anyway, continue.
Dabbing.
Don't let my wet crotch distract you.
It has derailed me completely. So I've been playing a game called Habroxia.
Habroxia.
Yeah, which is a shmup.
Never been very good at shmups.
Me either, but I do enjoy them. But sometimes they're just so punishingly difficult.
Yeah.
And I admit that I'm bad at games. But I don't know, I just wish... I've been thinking recently, maybe I should play games on easy.
Yeah.
But it's something I find difficult to actually bring myself to do.
Like, my thinking is that you should play it on normal because that's the difficulty setting.
It's how God intended
That's
it.
exactly. That's how the developers intended it. This
God.
is standard God, if you like. This is how you should
The
play
great
it.
designer
If you play
of
it
all
on,
things.
aye, playing it on
including
easy.
games. Because if God made man, then God made the game as well.
So God made every game.
God's the ultimate developer of all games, but
Which means that God's responsible for every shit game that's ever been made.
he's not the publisher though.
Right.
It's not his fault, man's greed.
Does that deflect blame from him then, the fact that he's not the publisher?
He's not responsible for the likes of EA or the other one that people dislike. Bethesda.
No one likes Bethesda and
No,
Activision.
Bethesda.
Activision, nobody likes Activision.
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 I think is Activision. That can. We've gone off topic. Habroxia.
It's a
A
shmup.
shmup. They're not easy, are they, shmups?
They're not. I don't like shmups because I don't really like any old
Fun.
games
You don't like fun. Is the problem.
anymore. Like you've played one shmup, you've played them all. You're dodging bullets and you're shooting things. It's all the same. And sometimes there's more bullets that you've got to dodge.
But
and
I mean-
apparently that's what makes it fun.
But
to
have you not
me-
just described
all games?
first-person shooters as well?
Yeah.
I mean, is a shmup, or a shoot-em-up as we used to call them back in the day, is it not fundamentally the same as a FPS? I mean, they're both shooters. You're shooting.
What I'm saying is,
You're dodging.
I don't need to play any new shmups because I've played
Played
every
the old
shmup.
shmups. What old shmups did you play?
Like, remember, like things like 1942 or 1943 or whatever it was called. Fucking Poppin' Twinbee. There's loads of them on the SNES.
That's a cute 'em up.
It's a cute 'em up.
Or as they call it now, shmup.
Aye, there was just loads of them. I played them all on the SNES, and fucking they've not changed. They're not doing anything
if
different.
you played them on the SNES, you were playing quite a limited shmup, because the arcades really where they shined at that point,
Yeah.
and then subsequently they've come on. I mean, I think a shmup is great fun in two players for a bit of co-op, 2-player fun. Anyway, you derailed the conversation. I'm trying to talk about Habroxia.
It's a shmup.
Habroxia. It's a shmup.
Yeah.
Shoot 'em up, as we used to call them back in the day.
What is it about Habroxia that makes it right wing? Or are you getting
We'll
to that?
get to that.
Tell me about Habroxia.
The thing that differentiates Habroxia from other shmups is that it's a twin stick shooter shmup.
Right.
So every time I started the level, I forgot that because it just doesn't seem right. You're expecting to press a button to shoot, hold down the button the whole time, and there's not a button to shoot. You hold the right stick in a direction to shoot, which works great, and it makes me think, why are all shmups not like that after playing it? Because it solves the problem of not being able to shoot behind you.
It does actually sound like a better implementation of and it's mental that it's taken until 2021 for that to happen.
I mean, I'm sure that there might have been, obviously twin stick shooters exist.
So I'm presuming it's a scrolling shmup.
Well, that's another one of the novel concepts in Habroxia, is that it's both a horizontal and a vertical scrolling shmup.
Right.
So at certain points during the level, there's even branching paths you could take. But at certain points, the ship will sort of turn around and start going up the screen.
Yeah.
Or along the screen, which is quite mind-blowing when it happens. But it means the branching paths mean that you can replay the levels, and there's like different bosses, and you unlock different levels depending on which way you go and stuff like that. But I was watching another review of Habroxia by a guy who was playing it on the Vita, and he said, because this is before I bought it, because I saw Habroxia and I thought it does look interesting, but I've bought quite a lot of shmups on the Switch and they're quite hard and I'm always dying.
Shmups on the Switch.
And the guy in his review was saying it was too easy, this shmup, Habroxia. Since Habroxia is too easy.
He would have been a hardcore shmup.
Well, I just thought that sounds interesting, because usually they're too hard. But I thought, look, the same as what you're thinking, it's probably still hard as nails. But I was listening a bit more, and it turns out it's you can upgrade your ship. So you could replay the levels, collect credits, and then upgrade your ship. So if you kind of grind the earlier levels a bit, you could become kind of overpowered. And I thought, that sounds great.
Yeah.
A shmup that's too easy and you could become overpowered, and I'm going to buy Habroxia. So I got it, and I was playing it, and the whole time I couldn't stop thinking about the guy who did the review, and he was saying it was too easy. And I kept thinking, I bet it's not too easy. I bet it's still really hard. And that's why I was thinking about, maybe I should start playing games on easy. Because I was thinking, guys like that, they must just be better than what I am. But I played the first couple of levels a few times, and I upgraded the ship. And then I actually did manage to get totally overpowered, and it did make the game too easy. And so I would get to the bosses and just destroy them straight away without any problem at all. And I was still enjoying it, because it was a rare occasion where I was actually making progress on the game.
Yeah.
And I played it through to completion, and I did enjoy it, and I thought, I'm great at games.
Yeah, like Nintendo are very good at that. Like with like Mario games, like there's definitely challenge there, but like bosses in particular, like bosses aren't different. Like controversially, I hate bosses. I hate boss battles generally. I find them stressful and they give me anxiety. And like in games where ordinarily like you're quite relaxed, whenever there's a boss battle, it's like, oh no, and I have to sit forward and I'm proper tense. But Mario games, they take that stress away by making the bosses probably some of the easiest parts of the game.
I think the stress comes if you're going to get put back miles to the start of the level or something.
Yeah.
Which does happen in Mario. I suppose you get a checkpoint outside. But we're not talking about Mario, we're talking about Habroxia.
Habroxia.
So it's an independent game. I completed it and then went online to read some more about it. And it turned out that the game was released by Colin Moriarty, who's like, he was part of a channel called Kinda Funny with the other guy. I can't remember what he's called, but if you call your channel Kinda Funny, then I think you're probably not funny at all. And everyone, it seemed to be quite popular, and it is like a big mainstream thing. Colin Miller is the guy's name. He was on IGN or something, and he basically took his audience from there and started his own thing, Kinda Funny, and it was like kind of pish, is what I would call it. But anyway, this guy, Colin Moriarty, he was part of it, but apparently he had to leave because he's quite right-wing, and he made some sexist tweets.
Right.
So I've inadvertently played his game.
And do you feel a sense of shame and regret now?
And now I'm feeling those exact feelings. But then I was reading that he didn't develop it. This other guy developed it, and then he's just given money. So I guess he's kind of like the publisher. So now I don't know how to feel about it.
I don't think you need to, like, I think you can separate the art from the artist, even if he was creatively involved. I think it's possible to enjoy something made by somebody who's a bit of a dick.
But is it too easy, the game?
I don't know, I've not played it.
I'm left with more questions than answers.
And maybe you should play it again on a harder difficulty setting.
And I mean, there's so many games to play these days.
So that leads us on conveniently to the next game that I've been playing, called Paratropic, which caught my eye on the eShop a while ago, and had apparently been held in quite high regard, and it also was very cheap. It was like £2.50 or something like that, and it's a weird first-person thing, kind of in the style of like the graphical style of a PS1 first-person, like low resolution textures, that kind of warped effect. You know what I mean, on the graphics, and it's a very short sort of. It's hard to describe. It's like a David Lynch-esque experience, I suppose. The story's pretty much incomprehensible, and it's designed, I think, to be played through multiple times. And there's an achievement list of things that you can do in the game. But it's very jumpy. Like, it just cuts from one scene to another, and then and every scene's just weird, and there's no sort of connecting tissue that makes it make sense. And then it just ends, and then it tells you what you did. Like, it shows you the achievement list, and you can read the ones that you've done and the ones that you haven't done. So you know when you replay it again, like, it's designed to be replayed multiple times, you kind of know what you've got to do to get the other achievements on the list. I wouldn't say it's fun, but I would say it's interesting.
What are you doing?
What do you do?
What's the gameplay? There's
not really any gameplay of sorts.
Just like a walking simulator.
Yeah, but it's the weirdest walking, like almost deliberately, obnoxiously surreal. But it's compelling enough that I did actually play through it twice, and I think I might go back to it and try and get, because I want to know what happens once you've gotten all the, like, I'm guessing that there's some payoff to ticking all the boxes. Do you know what I mean? And that maybe you get some other, because it's not like it. There is, I suppose, there's gameplay insofar as there's like certain points where you talk to people and you can, you know, there's conversation options, and that triggers certain things. And there was one point where you had a camera and you're just walking about, and you had to take, like, if you took pictures of 6 birds, then you got one of the achievements, kind of thing. So in that regard, that's the gameplay.
So it's like Pokemon Snap.
Well, there was one bit that was like that, and then there's another bit where you're driving a car. There's 2 bits where you're driving a car on this endless road where there's no other traffic, there's nothing other than to drive on this road, and then one of the achievements is to not hit the sides or anything like that, and then you get another achievement for driving full speed, and then another achievement for doing it really slow. So it sounds quite tedious, the process, because that bit is really dull. And then the only thing that happens is you've got like a box by your side, and then you look away, and then you look back, and then it'll have changed to a gun, and then you look away, and you look back, and it's an empty seat. And you can fiddle with the radio stations, and everyone's talking in this weird garbled voice, and it's like, it's just weird.
So, would you recommend it? How, you said it was just a couple of pounds.
It was like, because it's cheap, I'd say I would recommend it. But it's kind of like, don't expect too much from it. I mean, you play through it in like 10, 15 minutes.
But you're going to play it more?
I'm going to play it again and see if I can just make a little bit more sense of it.
Because if it might have an amazing payoff, or it might have no payoff, or...
Well, that's the thing, and the fact that I've kind of invested a bit of time in it already, and it's been, like I say, it won awards and stuff, and it's apparently been very well received, and I'm just curious to find out why. Anyway, Paratropic.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. A cautious recommendation, maybe.
The next game that I've been playing is Root Film.
Root Film.
Another visual novel.
Obviously.
And it's from the makers of Root Note, which is a visual novel which I've not finished, but I've also got on Switch. I originally started it on the Vita, and then I decided to double dip and pick it up on the Switch. And on the Switch, they'd added an alternative art style for the whole game, which was kind of like, the original had a really cool hand-drawn anime art style, and then the new version had like kind of photos, which I preferred the old way it looked, but I tried playing it in the new way just for fun. This is the previous game I'm talking about, Root Note.
Right.
But then I got to one bit and I couldn't progress, and it seemed like it had glitched out, but when I looked at the walkthrough, looking at a walkthrough for a visual novel, when I looked at the walkthrough, it told me to do something which I was doing, and it just wasn't working. And when I changed to the other art style, it seemed like it did work. So I don't know if it was because I was changing between the two art styles that I had got confused.
Yeah.
But anyway, I haven't finished that game, but I really enjoy it because it's a visual novel that doesn't have any weird sex stuff, which is one of the first things you've got to look for. Because you could be playing a visual novel and you get an hour's worth of interesting setup, but then your character starts perving on like a 9-year-old girl. And it's weird. It's kind of off-putting.
Yeah.
But none of that in Root Note, as far as I've played, because I haven't finished it yet, but this is the follow-up to it, and it's called Root Film. And again, it's got a different art style, even more anime, which suits me. And as soon as I seen it on the Coming Soon games, I was interested in playing it. And then I watched a review on Switch Corner, I think it was, and he said it was good, so I thought I'm going to pick it up. And you said it was expensive at £30 or something, but that's not bad. I mean, I was thinking the profit for visual novels must be great, because they do normally sell them at full price, like £50.
Yeah.
And like the amount of production that goes into a visual novel compared to, a full 3D world or whatever, it must be less.
Yeah, but they're not going to sell as much.
But they do have quite a big market, and that's what I'm saying. They do sell at full price. I mean, I guess it's a niche market, but a lot of them are making their way onto the Switch. and a lot of them are getting physical releases as well. But anyway, Root film is a kind of murder mystery visual novel, and I'm only a little bit in it so far, but the music is amazing. It's got some really nice jazzy numbers, and so far I've been thoroughly enjoying it, relaxing.
Nice.
So I would definitely recommend it.
Okay.
So have you been playing anything else?
I have. I've also been playing. I've got 2 other games. We'll see if I've got time to talk about them both.
We've got all the time in the world.
Great. So I've been playing a game called Sea of Solitude, which I'd seen.
Sorry, I'm going to have to rush you.
I'd seen like advertised a while ago, and it kind of caught my eye. I didn't really know anything about it other than, you know, it looked like something that I would play. Again, like quite gameplay light, but sort of in the vein of something like Journey or one of those kind of almost walking simulator-esque games, but like very narrative driven.
So when you're in a boat?
Yeah, and it's dealing with some quite heavy themes and stuff like that.
Like what?
Like I suppose it's like a family, like depression, marital problems. It's all very like bullying and stuff, but it's all
bullying. Is that like
metaphors with big monsters?
Oh, bullying. I thought you said like bullion, like gold bullion. Is that like a
bullying
currency?
No.
So I take it the world is kind of a metaphorical world.
Yeah, it's all. Everything represents something in the narrative.
So you're not really in a boat,
or are you? But yeah, I've not finished it yet. The problem I'm having with it is that it's really depressing. So it looks stunning, and it's a really like bright, colourful art style, which appealed to me, and it kind of reminded me of sort of like the Wind Waker crossed with Journey, like in terms of like how it looked. But yeah, I think I'm 8 chapters in. I'm not sure how many there is, but I'm having to take it in like sort of little chunks because it's quite, like I say, depressing. So yeah, definitely recommend it though. I think it's made by Quantic Dream, which surprised me because isn't Quantic Dream David Cage's company? You know, the guy that makes all the...
So it's quite a lot of gameplay, in fact, for him.
More than, he's normal levels.
But still a lot of narrative.
Yeah. But it's definitely I think it's really impressive looking on the Switch.
It previously came out on other consoles.
I think so. I don't know how it is on other consoles, but like I've not had any problems with the port on the Switch. So yeah, a recommendation, but again, probably a cautious one because, like I say, it's not the cheeriest of games.
I never knew it was Quantic Dream.
Me neither. Until I got it.
It kind of makes me more interested because I like Quantic Dream, despite what everyone says.
One of my I wouldn't say my favourite games ever, but certainly one that I like have really fond memories of is a Quantic Dream game. But it was before he kind of went for that cinematic thing with all these games. It was the Nomad Soul. Did you ever play that? I don't think.
Was that PS2?
No, it was. I played it on PC, but it was out on Dreamcast as well, and it was really ambitious. Like it was like a kind of third person kind of action kind of like adventure type thing. So like sort of like a Zelda light type game, but there was points where it went into a first person shooter. There was points when it went into a one-on-one like a Street Fighter-y type. Do you mean like a 3D one-on-one fighter?
I'm looking at it now. I've never played it.
It was like,
is that David Bowie?
David Bowie's in it as well. I never even got to that. It was like one of the, like, he basically tried to mash all these different, like, it was like kind of how you imagine games were going to be in the future. You know, like when you were a kid, and it'd be like, oh, there'll be a fighting bit, and it'd be like Street Fighter, and then like a city like Grand Theft Auto. That's what it was like a big open world city, futuristic city, and you could possess different people, and they all had like houses and jobs, and like it was fucking like really amazing. I mean, the problem
so
was
this is before he started his own company.
I'm not sure, but
Well, I'm just looking. It looks like it was IDOS.
right. But yeah, it was IDOS, right enough. The thing was that all the individual elements, like I say, the first person sections and all that, none of them were really well executed, but I couldn't help but admire the ambition of what he tried to do.
Well, no, it is developed by Quantic Dream, just published by IDOS.
Like I say,
It was on the Dreamcast.
It was on the Dreamcast. I remember playing the Dreamcast version. There was differences. It was definitely scaled back for the Dreamcast. Like on the PC, you could almost like drive any car on the PC. There was like cabs that you could get, taxis, and you could get in and you could choose to drive them yourself and like free sort of drive around the city. On the Dreamcast, it was just basically like a fast travel system. Like you couldn't control the taxis. But and there was multiple worlds as well. Like it was, I just remember it being vast and beautiful and like Blade Runner or something. Really, really ambitious. Yeah.
But I didn't like. Folk didn't like it. Or?
I think it just kind of crumbled under the weight of its own ambition. You know, like I say, it didn't execute any of the individual elements particularly well. Like the first person controls felt horrible. The one-on-one fighting sections were horrible. But yeah, I think in spite of it, all its flaws, it's a game that's kind of stayed with me because of what it tried to achieve, albeit not that well. And the fact that David Bowie was in it, the story was really good as well, from what I recall. And you could there was places in the game where you could go and watch David Bowie perform in bars, like he was like playing gigs and stuff. And his wife was one of the characters in the game that you could possess and play at at one point and stuff. And then if your character died, you had to possess another character in the game, and again they had a different house and totally. It's just like I say.
It does sound interesting.
The golden age of PC gaming was...
The only time I actually heard about it was just after David Bowie died, quite recently, and folk were talking about it. Did they re-release it for free, maybe?
I think they did on GOG.
As like a tribute sort of thing. But I never realised how interesting a game it was. I thought it was just like, oh, David Bowie did the music.
No, it was...
But it sounds quite interesting.
And I'm not talk about it much longer, but just like the premise, how it drew you into the game was really cool. It was you had to do like a soul transfer into the game. Like when you start it, like a digital David Bowie comes up and he's like, oh, we need you to come and help us in the game world. You need to transfer.
Do it in a David Bowie voice.
I can't do it. But you've kind of got to do you know what I mean? It's like you're transferring your soul into the game. It just draws you, literally tries to draw you in.
Does it actually take your soul?
It totally takes your soul.
And how does it do that?
It's the magic of
is that a USB?
3D effects.
A USB thing?
I think it was pre-USB.
So before USB, what was that? Like a SCSI port? So like a zip disk?
Something like that. A jazz drive.
A jazz. So anyway,
yeah, Sea of Solitude.
You recommend it, but it's
play the Nomad Soul. Play the Nomad Soul instead if you can.
Well, I mean, it'd probably be a nightmare to get it running, and then you said it played like shit.
Just play it anyway. It's fucking.
Sounds interesting. I might watch some YouTube reviews on it. Save me the.
But the thing is, it wasn't depressing.
Maybe I'll play it on easy.
I think it's the fact that they were giving it away on GOG suggests to me that it probably works well on modern machines.
Could maybe spend an evening getting it to work on my computer and then never play it.
Aye, exactly. Sounds ideal.
So you're probably wondering what else I've been playing.
I have been wondering that.
I've also been playing Bit Trip Beat.
Oh yeah.
You played it as well with me.
Yeah.
I played the first level because I used to have it on the Wii when it originally came out, and I was a big fan. It's a tough game.
I found it a misery playing it.
A misery?
I'm not, like, it was fun for, like, it
Not enough
doesn't fucking
David
end.
Bowie.
Like,
It's punishingly...
The level's way too long.
Did you get to the end of the level?
I did get to the end,
did?
but it was a fucking slog.
First time?
Aye.
But then I did the second level, and I thought it was fun, but then all of a sudden both started feeling motion sickness. And we had to turn it off quickly, and I'm never going to play it again after that.
No, I mean, it was making me feel sick, I think, and make, like, I don't know, I just found it really stressful.
I think it's less sickening to play it handheld.
Yeah.
Because I was playing a shmup on the big screen, and it made me feel sick. I was thinking maybe I'm just getting old.
And, like, there's points where...
you know what they should call it? Beat Treat... Sorry,
Beat Treat.
You know what they should call it?
What?
Bit Trip Boke.
Boke. Oh. I think there's a music deficit as well. Like, it needs to be... There needs to be more musical elements going on. Like, there's points where literally, like, if you're doing shit, there's no music at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's the punishment. I like it when it goes to that bit. You did better when it went to that bit.
Oh, it stressed me out.
That's good. That's what's funny. It's good seeing you getting stressed out. So
I do love rhythm games though, like, and I should have loved that, but I didn't enjoy it. That's what surprised me, because I remember, like, the reason why you got it was because we played it years ago on the Wii, and fucking...
You did enjoy it back then when you were younger.
Yeah.
Now you just hate fun. You're playing your misery simulator games. See Solitude.
You're one to talk. Talking of misery simulators, have you played any Last of Us 2 since 4 podcasts ago when you'd got it and you said...
Well, actually...
Aye.
No. I would really like to get a PS5.
It's not going to happen, mate.
Do you think... Or do you know, is Last of Us play better on PS5?
It inherently plays better, but there's not like a patch yet for it.
That's a good excuse for all my PS4 games, is that I'm waiting to play them on PS5.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel less guilty about not playing Resident Evil 3 remake, The Last of Us Part 2,
Yeah.
Prey. There's other ones. Death Stranding, but I just gave up on Death Stranding. I don't know if I was previously said, but I believe Death Stranding is some sort of elaborate prank by Hideo Kojima. Very funny.
I'd be inclined to agree.
Bravo. Well played. But looking forward to an actual
proper
real game.
Yeah, at some point.
With some fun gameplay. Well, he has meant to be working on a new game, isn't he?
Yeah. Long rumoured.
Bless his cotton socks.
I'm glad that he exists and Death Stranding exists, even though I don't like him or any of his games, really.
Well, you're wrong, but let's not get into that right now. What else have you been playing, or is that it?
I've been playing another game called Seventh Sector, which is a kind of indie effort.
Severed Rectum.
Severed Rectum. Seventh Sector.
Sorry, it's a bad line.
Which is quite a fitting joke.
That's why I said it.
That's very good, because it's a game where you control an electricity.
Yeah, we've seen it on a video. Was it one of these Switch videos?
Yeah, so it seems to be like you're like it says like you start off, you're like a guy, like the silhouette of a guy in a TV, and then you turn into electricity, and you've to solve puzzles. Like it's kind of like like the art style actually in some ways reminded me of Little Nightmares.
Kind of like a spark 'em up.
But what's frustrating about it is you're controlling like a spark of electricity. You'd think that the movement would be quick as fuck, but it's really not, and it's frustratingly slow. And it's like, so you're trying to like move the joystick in the direction because you're moving along wires, right? And you'd think, moving the joystick in the direction like of the wire, move it quicker, and sometimes it does, and then sometimes it's like you've got like, oh no, it's a percentage of a degree off, so you're not getting the. It's just like I found controlling it frustrating, and I found some of the puzzles just really obtuse and like.
It was dead cheap, wasn't it?
It was cheapish.
It looks like a mobile game or something. Well, I don't know. It looked like it might be quite.
I think
good.
it's on Unreal 4. It's
There's
like
so much shovelware on the Switch that you just can't trust. I mean, it did look interesting, but
I thought graphically it was quite impressive.
You're right.
But yeah, I got to a puzzle that just boiled my piss, and I did actually look up a guide and got past it, and then pretty much hit another puzzle that just annoyed me, and I haven't went back to it. So I don't know if that's a recommendation or not. Probably not.
It's not a mobile game. My apologies to the developer. Sometimes you. That's the developer.
And have you been playing anything else?
Yeah, well, just briefly, I was playing Burnout on the Switch. Burnout, what's it called? Paradise.
Paradise.
I didn't get it. What did you pay for it?
I paid $44.99 for it.
$44.99.
The day it came out. That was the same time you got Last of Us. Oh, that was the same time Last of Us 2 came out. And
when it came out, I didn't get Last of Us 2 until like a year later. But you tried to get me to buy The Last of Us Part 2, and there was no way. I mean, I didn't have the money, but £44 for a game that's years old.
It was Burnout I was trying to get you to get so we could play it multiplayer.
That's what I'm talking about. What did I say?
Last of Us.
No, I'm just saying I didn't play that. Anyway,
alright. I didn't.
So, stop. I waited until it was £15 or something.
Yeah.
And then I got it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I did that, because I only played it for 5 minutes, and then I was fully prepared for it being open world, and that being a bit pish. I was fully prepared for it being open world, and that being a bit pish. But the thing, I need a proper take, don't I? I have to use one of those. I was fully prepared for it being open world and that being a bit pish, but the fact that the map doesn't spin around to go where you're facing it, I can't handle that.
Yeah, it's really.
Maybe annoying. If it wasn't a racing game, I could take some time to work it out. But and like a high speed, you're going like a 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, and you have to pause it literally like every sort of couple of minutes to check sort of what your next turn off is and stuff. Like, yeah, a spinning map, or at least
I kept going to the menu. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I must be missing the. I just keep checking. I'm like, it must be, and it wasn't. So I thought, right, it must be just a button in game you press. So I'm pressing on them. I'm like, I'm not. I'll go and speak to Gary Onions, Flint. He'll know. And then I asked you, and you said that you can't make the map auto-orientate. Is that what
and it doesn't have like a sat-nav or anything, does it?
You can't even draw the route.
So that doesn't kind of tell you, like, next, like it's frustrating. It's meant to be so you've got freedom to pick your route, but in reality, you just end up going the wrong way, and it's really frustrating. You've got to, and you can't just restart the race. You've got to drive back to the traffic lights you were at to restart the race, and then remembering what likes you were at. It's like,
And it's EA publishing, isn't it?
yeah,
They just have to ruin. Why do they have to ruin everything?
because that's
What?
EA.
Why?
It's just what they do.
So I already had Need for Speed, and I'm just going to go back to that if I'm going to play anything on the Switch, which is Burnout-esque.
Yeah,
Because that seems quite Burnout-esque.
I've been
but
playing it quite a bit handheld. lately.
less of the faff.
Yeah, it's fun. One sort of downside is, and I don't understand why this is, because it's the same developer, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Burnout runs at 60 frames per second, but Need for Speed runs at 30, and I don't understand why.
You've just ruined Need for Speed as well for me. I'm not going to play that either. Until they patch it and make it 60. So that's another game I don't have to worry about not playing.
Yeah.
It's a new regular section of the show called Judge Ye Not, Lest Thee Be Judged Thyself. Or for short,
Nah, I can't.
Judge Ye.
Let's not dwell on this too much.
JT.
Judge ye not,
JY.
lest you be judged. No, it doesn't work.
Judge not. Judge not that ye be not judged. That's the actual. That's from the Bible.
Right.
Matthew 7:1-3, King James Version.
My favourite.
Judge not that ye be not judged. So I guess it's been misquoted.
Yeah.
For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye?
Good stuff.
So,
With that in mind,
I mean, that's the full title of the section,
yeah.
but that's what I was wanting you to just maybe abbreviate it.
I think in the process of trying to abbreviate it, we've just made the whole...
Don't judge. Anyway, judge
Ye not. Let's abbreviate it to Judge Ye not.
Judge Ye Not. And the first guy in this section is Rabid Luigi.
Right, aye.
Because he likes to judge people and things, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's judging away.
He's a judge.
Sitting in his shed in the bottom of his mum and dad's garden, judging everyone else. So, in the spirit of judge ye not, lest thee thyself be judged, which admittedly is a misquote. We all know that. Sorry, I've lost my notes here. Yeah, so Rabid Luigi, let's see you make a game.
Yeah. I actually like Rabid Luigi for the most part. But again, it's one of these situations where once you've pointed out a YouTuber's flaws, then I can't not see them after that. And I was watching one of his videos recently, and it was just like, I think the problem was, I remember at the time, Rabid Luigi usually does top fives, which means there's gaps in between him talking. Whereas this video, there was no gaps. It was just him talking relentlessly for fucking 15, 20 minutes. And I found it really, really hard to get through.
Well, in the spirit of Judge Thee Not, I thought we should do top 5 things that we hate about Rabid Luigi.
Okay. 5 each, or...
And I wouldn't normally do that because I'm a positive guy.
Yeah.
But you know what they say?
Judge ye not, lest you be
judged
yourself.
So, number 5.
Right. All right, good. Well, let's put that last one on the list. I want that. He talks too much.
Talks too much. I mean, as a YouTuber, what's he gonna do? Dead air's a crime. But let's have it. Number 5. Talks too much.
He talks too much.
He talks too much. Number 4.
He started doing tier lists. I fucking hate tier lists.
Do they make you cry? Tears?
Yes.
Should call them tears list. Number 3.
I used to find his catchphrase endearing, but now it annoys me.
What is his catchphrase?
Well, it's what used to endear me about it is he would say, "This is Rabid Luigi," and then he would do a gesture with his hands, kind of like a James Bond gun pointing to just across his shoulder.
I wonder what he was doing.
And then
is
he
that
would
a
say,
gun?
He'd go, "This is Rabid Luigi," and then he would go into his closing statements. And I thought, not many YouTubers use their catchphrase and then use that to lead into a kind of like a roundup, do you know what I mean? A conclusion to what they've been talking about. And I used to appreciate that.
Oh, I say like, "This has been Rabid Luigi," but I say it really fast.
This is Rabid Luigi, and
Then he
and
would
it's funny
say-
how blah 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 blah. Or
say, no, you say, "This has been Rabid Luigi," and I wish I could think of something good to say.
and whilst it's interesting to
That's
pontificate on the nature of blah 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 blah, it's also conversely like. And then do you know what I mean? So it's like he's put a little bit of thought into it. It's not just like, but
He doesn't do that anymore.
he does do that. It's just
I'm still subscribed to Rabid Luigi, but I can't watch it anymore. Like, you wouldn't notice it unsubscribed, but I kind of feel like maybe one day I could go back to him. But I don't know.
Out of the kind of top 5 or the kind of top 5 YouTubers that you get, I think he's one of the better ones. I don't know if that's loose praise or not, to be fair, but
Hollow praise.
hollow praise.
Well, certainly.
And I haven't unsubscribed, so that's
I've not
something.
unsubscribed. I mean, as I say about everyone, I mean, I feel like since we spoke about Kadikas, he's stopped making videos. So hopefully, after we've put this podcast out, Rabid Luigi will stop making videos.
Yeah, but Cad Icarus did actually release a video the other day.
I know, but we did manage to stop him for a few months.
And we are claiming full responsibility for that.
And that is good. I mean, even a few months less Kadikas videos
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. I watched his new video as well. I was curious.
I heard you watching it. It
was called
horrific.
It was called "I'm Sorry."
He never shuts his
I know.
mouth either.
Well, that's what I thought. Like, I thought he's made a video called "I'm Sorry," so he's obviously realised that he's annoying, and I thought he was making a video.
That's the clickbait.
Apologising for being him.
I wouldn't have fallen for that clickbait. He's not sorry.
No, I learned that the hard way.
If you're sorry, kill yourself. Which takes us neatly on our next section. Recommended small channel of the week with Phil Myth.
with Phil Myth. Anyway,
Phil Myth.
Phil Myth. I also know
That's the person's name. Do you think that's his real name?
I wonder about that, but that's not the name of the channel. The channel's called, what is it?
Nintendo Village with
Nintendo
Phil
Village
Myth.
with Phil Myth.
Some people actually got in touch with us thinking that your real name wasn't Gary Onions Flint, but it is.
Yeah, and it was
Just want to
whatever my name
reiterate
was
that.
in the last one. It's that as well.
Well, it was Gary Onions Flint.
Yeah, it's always been that.
That's your name.
Yeah. So Nintendo Village. This is a channel that I'd actually recommended to you for a change. Pardon me. That I'd stumbled across. I was generally quite impressed with, again, like good production values and like really well shot, well lit. He's quite a charismatic presenter, although he does look a bit like Skrillex, but I'll let him off with that. But I was generally like well edited content, nice banners.
Who doesn't look like Skrillex these days?
I know, but I was surprised at how small his channel was, given the quality of his output. What do you think of Filmy?
Skrillex is the one that makes the cleaning products for kitchens.
That's right.
Filmy, yeah. He seems like a lovely guy. These videos, is it another Nintendo Switch channel?
Well, I mean, he's general Nintendo, so I guess Nintendo Village.
He was talking. I seen a video about Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I never watched that one because it doesn't
care
interest
less.
me. Yeah, I watched the other one that he made about free to play games on the Switch, which I think was his most recent one, prior to the Animal Crossing.
If I want to potter about in the garden, digging trees and picking up things, I'll do it in the garden.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I planted the Christmas tree in the garden a bit late. I mean, it was looking a bit brown, so hopefully it'll take root and grow.
The holiday tree.
The holiday tree, yeah. And then we can have that, dig it back up for next Christmas. So that's I haven't played Animal Crossing, but I've done that. Filmy. If that is his real name, then it's literally the best name that anyone has ever been given. Oh, I did know a guy. What was his name? Wrath. There was a guy who stayed on the caravan park that I lived on briefly, who was called Jim Wrath.
Jim Wrath.
Wrath.
No, it's not as good as Filmy.
It's not as good as Filmy, but
if Filmy does Google his own name, ends up listening to this, I mean, I don't know if he would tell us, but is that your real name, Filmy?
Filmy, if you're listening to this, we have to know. The man, the myth.
Filmy.
Yeah.
You should be his hype man. I mean, I saw he had a video, top 20 free games on the Nintendo
That was the
Switch.
one that I watched, and there was quite
Now,
a few.
I imagine that would be all your fortnights,
Well, that was
your monthlies.
That was number one. There's some stuff on there that I wasn't aware of. I wouldn't play anything that's free to play, just because I object to it on principle. I won't have to pay for my games.
Well, there's always a hidden cost
Exactly, and
with these free-to-play games.
I just find that the whole...
With Fortnite, the hidden cost is your soul.
Yeah. But yeah, I've just found the whole monetization mechanics in free-to-play games obnoxious, so I just don't play them.
With Fortnite, I'll just do that one again. With Fortnite, your hidden cost is your self-respect.
Yeah, that too. I mean, yeah. Have you played Fortnite?
I played it for a few minutes.
Same.
I felt intimidated. Felt old.
Yeah.
Unloved. Humiliated. Self-pity. Self-loathing.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time.
But apart from that, it seemed like an interesting world that they were going for. Yeah.
I don't like...
I mean, if I wanted to talk to people, I mean, I would do a podcast and talk to you.
Yeah. Anyway, Phil Myth. So, like, the subscribers, tell us how many subscribers.
He's about 3K.
3,000, aye. And, like, these videos that were getting about 500 views and stuff like that. And I think that's a sin.
It's a sin. He deserves more viewers. But he did a video called Metroid Prime 4 is looking epic, which garnered 27,000 views.
Aye, that's clickbaity as fuck, because obviously there's nothing.
Phil
There's no
Myth
information about Metroid Prime 4.
So has he gone down in your estimate? He's clickbaiting that. He's still 700 thumbs up for Metroid Prime 4 is looking epic, but 115 down votes.
I must have watched that one. If I haven't, I'm going to watch it, and then I'll see if it's clickbaity. Well, no, I think I might have watched it, and he was just talking about the folk who have been brought on.
But I mean,
like,
can you blame him? He does good, honest videos.
Well, that's mental that
they only get 100 views.
Yeah.
He's done one here though, 62k, top 20 best party multiplayer games on the Switch.
Yeah.
So he seems to know how to work the algorithm.
To some extent, but not enough to get himself like a decent subscriber.
Or maybe he's just every video can't be a sellout video. He's not Wood from Beat 'em Up. Or is he?
No, I mean, no. I wouldn't lump him in with that.
No, eat me though. 33,000 views for 20 best Switch games under $20.
Yeah.
He's English though.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe he lives in US of
So I,
Phil Myth.
Phil Myth. These are.
I recommended small channel of the week, Phil Myth. Down at Nintendo Village.
Head down to Nintendo Village and go and see Mayor Phil Myth.
Go and watch his clickbait video about Metroid Prime 4, a game that's probably never coming out.
Yeah, that we've seen an image of a logo for, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it might be interesting to see how he strings that out for 10 plus minutes.
Well, from what I remember, if I did watch this one, because admittedly I've been a while ago, he did acknowledge the fact that there's no actual information, but they have like hired a lot of people who you can garner information from that based on their work history or something. But yeah, Metroid Prime 4 isn't coming out for a long time.
You heard it here first on the Golden Syrup Gaming Show.
Absolutely, episode 10.
Our next section is Young Ye's Controversy of the Week.
This is exciting. I mean, to be honest, I haven't watched a Young Ye video in so long.
I forced myself to watch this Young Ye video so we could talk about this now.
You don't seem that excited about it.
No. So, what's Young Ye got his knickers in a twist about this week? Nintendo kills Mario 3D All-Stars.
Oh, this again. Of course, because the date's looming. It's now, for those who don't know, it's now the 28th of March. So there's 3 days left before Mario 3D All-Stars is hoisted off of store shelves and removed from the eShop. No longer available for purchase until it is.
If this was a video podcast, we could show the Nazis like burning books.
Yeah. So yeah, people have been fucking bumping their gums about this since it got announced. So that's been 6 solid months of people moaning that this is getting deleted from existence. And yeah, at least now it's coming to an end, and hopefully we won't have to hear about it.
It's just
anymore.
Some closure. I mean, you're never going to move on fully from it, but if we could just have some closure,
yeah,
that's the most that we can hope for.
I have had Mario 3D All-Stars for 6 months and stopped playing it about a week after I got it. I did dip into Galaxy now and again, but yeah.
I mean, Mario 64, the worst Mario game, isn't it?
I would actually probably agree with that.
Yes, I agree.
It's my least favourite.
Mario
Sunshine's a
close second.
Close second.
Mario 1, classic. as good today as it's always been.
Yeah.
As the first time anyone ever set eyes on it.
Yeah.
Mario 2.
Yeah, no, all the original Mario games, the NES and Mario World, Yoshi's Island, top notch.
Yoshi's Island.
Mario Galaxy
The
is
best Mario
still
game.
one of my favourite games of all time.
Mario 64 though,
Yeah,
horrendous game.
it's not horrendous. It's just
Horrendous game.
It's just
I remember when the first time I played it, I realised that jumping on top of a Goomba was nigh on impossible, and that was when I thought to myself, all right, Mario fundamentally doesn't work in 3 dimensions, and they had to give him another attack.
yeah, you can punch.
And that's and the reason they did that, because you can imagine Mario punching in the original Mario games. It seemed to be ridiculous, but they had to do something because in a 3D platformer, jumping on enemies doesn't work.
It's just
Jumping on
tricky.
enemies is what Mario does. Fundamentally, the game is broken, and everyone just keeps going on about how it's amazing. It's the worst Mario game by a mile. Like, they've refined it over time, and the newer Mario 3D games, they've made it work.
Yeah.
But like you say, Sunshine, rubbish as well. Abysmal.
I mean, the movement and the overall mechanics in Sunshine are much better. I just don't like I don't really like the hub world, and I don't like a lot of the level design. Yeah, it just lacked this sort of magic that later iterations have had. Yeah, but yeah, it's crazy how Mario 64's kind of held up in such high regard.
Ban Mario 64. I'm glad they're taking this 3D game off. What's it called? Mario 3D All Stars off the shelf. Good.
But so that's happening in 3 days, and then the expectation is that there'll possibly be a similar All Stars for Zelda announced for its 35th anniversary.
Well, I don't want to disappoint anyone, but that probably won't happen.
Probably.
They're putting out Skyward Sword, aren't they?
Yeah, but
They didn't say as part of 3D Zelda All Stars.
No.
It's not happening. You're getting Skyward Sword, that's it. And we're taking Mario 3D World off the shelf because it's shit. That's why they're doing it.
That's your lot.
They've realised that Mario 64 is shit, and so they're taking it off the shelves. Either that, or they're going to release it digitally on the eShop, or release them all separately.
Yeah.
In which case, this whole conversation and this whole past 6 months of
Well, that's always
outrage has been a complete waste of time.
that's always been the speculation, isn't it? They're just doing this so they can charge more for them individually at a later point.
Apparently, they've already sold over 8 million copies of Mario. What's it called?
3D All Stars.
Mario 3D All Stars.
Yeah.
Doesn't roll off the tongue, does it?
No. Yeah. So yes, finally, the man babies will stop moaning because it'll have happened, and we won't have to hear about it anymore.
Or we'll see if anyone even remembers this controversy 6 months from now.
Yeah.
They won't. Well, that takes us to the end of our podcast. Gary Onions Flint, I'm sure you will agree, has been a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah. I'm drained.
I've drained as well. But I think I might need to go again.
Yeah.
So it's good night from me, and it's good night from Gary Onions Flint. Good night.